The United States Military Academy at West Point is known to accept only the best and the brightest. That's how family and friends would describe small-town Massachusetts-raised Maura Murray.
Never anything but an A all the way from the first grade straight through high school. I was proud. You don't get in there just because of one thing. You have to do almost everything right, you know? You got to be a little lucky to get in there, too.
Friends say Maura's luck continued when she met older cadet Bill Rausch.
She couldn't stop talking about him, and he had given her a stuffed animal for Christmas, which she wouldn't put down, and just her face would light up every time someone mentioned his name.
I'd say I probably was more the lucky one. She's so easy to really just love and to care about. She's so sweet, sincere, and adorable. Very spontaneous, adventurous, definitely just gorgeous.
He said, "Mom, I've met the most phenomenal girl. I can't wait for you and Dad to come up and for you to meet her." And we fell instantly in love with her.
Maura decided she wanted to study nursing and left West Point for the University of Massachusetts.
Say hi.
Bill graduated West Point, was stationed in Oklahoma, but distance only seemed to deepen their commitment.
She was planning on going out to Oklahoma for the summer of '04 and part of her nursing program, and she was going to get a job at a hospital in Lawton, Oklahoma, and do part of her internship there. We both knew where we wanted to go in the relationship. Actually, marriage had been in the air for quite some time.
What Bill Rausch describes as the solid ground of their relationship was shaken one February night. He got some news he immediately passed on to his parents.
I answered the phone, and I heard panic in his voice, and he told us just very quickly, you know, I just got a phone call from Maura's family, and her car's been found abandoned in New Hampshire. I was just really panicked.
For reasons she apparently shared with no one, on February 9th in 2004, Maura Murray left her dorm in Massachusetts and drove some 130 miles into New Hampshire. The car she was driving was found in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere.
At some point, she reached Route 112 in Haverhill.
Joe McGee reported the story for the Patriot Ledger in Quincy, Massachusetts.
At a hairpin turn, she went off the road. Her car hit a tree.
The accident was serious enough to put the car out of commission, but one from which Maura could walk away.
It was probably the last place that anybody would want to be lost. It's cold, it's desolate, it's barren, and it's very dark. At that point, a person came along who was driving a bus. It was a neighbor. He had been taking tourists to skiing in the area that day. He asked her if she needed help. She refused.
She told him that she had called AAA, that she was all set, and she had a wrecker coming. But in that area of New Hampshire, cell phones don't work, so she had not made that call.
In the dark of night, it's conceivable that Maura was afraid to accept a ride from a strange man in an empty bus. The last person, as it turns out, known to have seen her.
Now, police have said they've questioned him continually, and they don't consider him a suspect.
The bus driver and neighbors across the street from the scene both called 911 to report a young woman stranded on Route 112.
About 10 minutes later, police showed up to the scene, and Maura Murray was gone.
News of that night's events reached Maura's father when police called at 4 p.m. the next day.
My immediate reaction when I found out that my daughter was missing was right at the edge of panic. You found her car, she was in an accident, she's not there, where is she? Where is the search now? How far have you looked now? As it turns out, there was no search.
Certainly, if Maura had been a juvenile, there would have been different alerts. In this case, the initial conclusions at the scene was that Maura had probably left on her own free will.
But a day and a half later, with still no sign of Maura, authorities investigated further.
They brought out helicopters, ground crews to search the area, and dogs, but two things stood out. Number one, there weren't any footprints left in the snow. And number two, dogs lost her scent about 100 yards away from the scene. According to police, there were no signs of a struggle or any other evidence like that.
The police told us there was no evidence of foul play, that she was running away from everybody. You know, she's starting over. She's starting a new life, and in their words, she's 21 and she has that right.
I kept hearing, well, she's an adult and she can do anything she wants. And I was the only one out there, walking up and down the street, looking over snowbanks, trying to find footprints, trying to find some sign of her.
Just putting, boots on the ground and getting out and, with several people driving all over the countryside and passing out flyers.
Bill Rausch joined the search for Maura. He got an emergency leave from the Army to help find the woman he planned to marry.
Wherever she was going, and I don't know, and to be honest, I don't even have really a best guess specifically, that was interrupted by her sliding off the side of the road. And at that moment, circumstances changed.
She's completely at the mercy of any type of person that drives by. And I'm afraid that some bad guy came by and harmed her, did something to her.
For all of us that love Maura, life is like a nightmare. I feel like she's my own daughter. I can honestly, say that I can't imagine loving anyone that's not my child any more than I love Maura.
Three months later, as Maura's disappearance lingered without answers, her family saw reports of another missing young woman, this one in Oregon, Brooke Wilberger.
The community rallied around and they were doing all these line searches, something that Maura never had. And I remember thinking, well, thank God they're out there looking for this young woman.
The two families from opposite sides of the country, but with a tragic common ground, comforted each other.
And we talked about our faith in God and, that we would not give up hope, and that Brooke and Maura were in God's hands.
When we come back, where was Maura Murray going that night? Was she planning to ever return?
It was clear from a search of her room that she had packed her belongings.
When 2020 continues. The searches for missing Coeds Brooke Wilberger and Maura Murray continue. The two families, though 3,000 miles apart, share the same hope that they will find their daughters and the same sense of shock. How could this have happened to the girls who had everything in the world to look forward to? Once again, Elizabeth Vargas.
When she arrived at Utah's Brigham Young University, freshman Brooke Wilberger had no trouble making friends.
Brooke was so much fun, embodied just a wonderful, great spirit.
She was also beautiful. She was the definition of beauty for me, on the inside and out.
This is my home! Yay!
On the semester break after her first year, Brooke went home to Oregon. One day that May, she left a phone message for her mother.
Hey, Mom, this is Brooke. If you get the message, give me a call, because I just want to know when you guys were getting home, if you've already eaten, haven't eaten, if you want me to make something. Anyway, give me a call. Okay.
Hi, Mom. What do you want for dinner? What would you like me to fix? And that's just the kind of girl she was.
It was the day after that phone call that Brooke Wilberger disappeared.
The first week was, we were just getting inundated with leads, which is exactly